process in which the blastocyst enters the endometrium is called implantation or embed. The implantation began on the 5th to 6th day after fertilization and completed on the 11th or 12th day. During implantation, the polar trophoblast on one side of the inner cell mass first contacts and adheres to the endometrial epithelium, secretes proteoglytic enzymes, dissolves the gap in the endometrium, and then the blastocyst falls into the gap and gradually embedded in it. In the process of implantation, trophoblast cells in contact with the endometrium proliferated rapidly, and the trophoblast thickened and differentiated into inner and outer layers. The outer cells fuse with each other, and the boundary between cells, that is, cell membrane, disappears, which is called syncytial trophoblast. The inner cells have clear boundary and are composed of monolayer cubic cells, which is called cytotrophoblast. In the latter, the number of cells increases continuously through division, and the cells are supplemented and integrated into the syncytial trophoblast. Look at these pictures. You can see that the growth of syncytial trophoblast, the 7th day, the 8th day, the 9th day, and the 12th day. The trophoblast cells differentiated into inner and outer 2 layers. Finally, the whole embryo is embedded in the endometrium. This animation shows the process of the blastocyst embedding into the endometrium, and in this process, the trophoblast is divided into 2 layers, the inner cytotrophoblast and the outer syncytial trophoblast. This is an observed embryo embedded in the endometrium. You can see that the myometrium in the upper part of the uterine wall and the uterine glands and the capillaries in the endometrium, and a vesicular embryo below. This is a photo of a specimen. You can see around the blastocyst and the thickened endometrium, which is called deciduous at this time. With the process of blastocyst implantation, trophoblast is divided into 2 layers, the inner one, cytotrophoblast, which is composed of a layer of cells with mononuclear and cell boundary, while the outer one, syncytial trophoblast, which is composed of multiple cells fused together without cell membrane. The function of trophoblast is to absorb nutrition from maternal blood and sperm age to embryo development. After the whole blastocyst was implanted into the endometrium, the gap was repaired and implantation was completed. At this time, the whole trophoblast of the blastocyst is divided into 2 layers and thickens rapidly. There are small lacunae in the syncytial trophoblast called trophoblast lacunae, which soon communicate with the small blood vessels of the endometrium and are filled with the maternal blood. Look at the 9th and the 12th day. The syncytial trophoblast contacts with the maternal blood and can absorb nutrition. At the time of implantation, the endometrium is in the secretory phase. After implantation, the blood supply is more abundant. The gland secretion is more vigorous. The stromal cells become very large, rich in glycogen and lipid droplets, and the endometrium is further thickened. These changes of endometrium are called decidual reaction. At this time, the endometrium is changed to decidual and the stromal cell to decidual cells. According to the position relationship between the decidual and the embryo, it can be divided into three parts. Decidual bacillus, which lies in the deep surface of embryo. Decidual capsularis, which covers the uterine cavity side of embryo. Decidual parentalis, which is the decisor of the rest of decidual. This image shows you three parts of decidual. Decidual bacillus, pink part. Decidual capsularis, blue one. Decidual parentalis, yellow one. The implantation site of blastocyst is usually in the body or bottom of the uterine, mostly in the posterior wall. Unfortunately, if the implant happens elsewhere, it can have serious consequences. If the implantation is located near the cervix, the placenta from the hair, called placenta previa, will block the birth canal during natural delivery, resulting in difficult delivery of the fetus, which requires cesarean section. If implanted outside the uterus, called ectopic pregnancy, often occurs in oviduct, occasionally seen in the broad ligament of the uterus, mesentery, uterine rectal lacunae, or even ovarian surface. Most of the ectopic embryos died early and were absorbed due to the lack of nutrition supply, and a few embryos implanted into the oviduct developed to a large extent, which resulted in the rupture and the hemorrhage of the oviduct. The picture above shows the pattern of salpingo cases, and the following is the removed oviduct. You can see the embryo inside. The implantation process is finely regulated by estrogen and progesterone of the mother. The normal secretion of these hormones keeps the endometrium in the secretory phase. If the endocrine of the mother is disordered and the periodical changes of endometrium are not synchronized with the development of blastocyst, the implantation cannot be completed. The implantation of blastocyst also needs a normal uterine cavity environment. The uterus has inflammation or contraceptive ring, which can hinder the implantation of blastocyst.